2, 1. Shalom, Kum Yashala. Welcome to Sabbath Class. The world is yours, but it should be ours. The world is yours, but it should be ours. All right. All right. We, the sons of thunder, it's our heart's prayer and desire for Israel that they might be saved. Tonight's lesson is Sabbath Class. Did Christ change or add to the law? This is one of the questions that you're going to encounter from sophisticated Christians who wish to demonize your desire to keep the commandments. They wish to make you feel a regret for doing your earnest to keep the laws, statutes, and commandments. Make sure y'all sharing the room. I got no shares yet. I got a couple. I got Yawasop. I got Jocelyn Edwards sharing the room. Make sure y'all share the room on Clubhouse. If you're on the call, make sure you stay to the end. If you want to join the call, I will put the number at the bottom right there. Now you have the number at the bottom. Tonight's class is going to be methodical. Make sure that you have your notes. It's not going to be boring. I don't teach boring. All right. What I want y'all to do is understand that as you advance and grow in this truth, the challenges that you face as believers is going to get more and more sophisticated. And one of the very sophisticated challenges that you're going to face is that Christ has his own law. All right. Shalom to Sister Kanaya, just joined, new member. Hey. All right. So what is the benefit of being a new member? Not only do you get premium access for questions and priority access to the edification, but we just added a new perk. Our new members get entry to our events free when we do public events. We're starting a debate series coming up soon. We got some powerful things for you. I'm gonna share some things on the YouTube before we get started with the class. Number one, I'm gonna share with y'all is if you are following us on the Versus platform, we have the latest new content. All right, it's Patreon. I said Versus. If you follow us on the Clubhouse, that's something different. That's where we do Versus, right? But if you follow us on the Patreon, we have exclusive content for you. And the latest video that we're going to add is me and my Israelite brothers like Priest Daniel Allah, among many, versus Shadid, the black Muslim. Shadid is a Muslim who advocates for the Orthodox Muslim approach, which we feel is inherently racist. And we had a great conversation with him, several hours. I'm going to upload that onto the Clubhouse coming soon, probably Sunday evening. So make sure you join our Clubhouse platform. That's Patreon. I keep saying Clubhouse. Make sure you join our Patreon platform. That's patreon.com SOT Israelites. All right. On there, we also have a repository of links that we use for edification, and the same perks apply to the people that follow us on Patreon. Is priority access to our live events. All right. It's going to get bigger and bigger, better and better. The truth is going to be more and more engaging. All right. And what we are trying to do is create a platform that attracts the nation of Israel, and not only attracts you, but maintains your attention and focus and keeps you with us. All right. Because we want y'all to grow in this thing. As we grow, we want y'all to grow with us. All we're going to do is water. Maybe we plant the seed, but the Most High is going to bring the increase. Right. And we just offering the content. Okay. So that's going to be our next Clubhouse. If you remember the previous, it was me versus WAC 100. Great reviews. Everybody enjoyed that conversation. This one is the same, if not better. All right. This is Yahweh, myself, and several other great Israelite teachers and instructors versus Shadid. We're trying to teach this black brother that Islam is not for him. Come be an Israelite. It's an amazing conversation with an ending that you won't believe. All right. Next, we got New Moon. Okay. We got New Moon. Okay. New Moon is coming this Sunday. Okay. I believe I put the image so that I could show it on the screen. Where you see it?
New Moon IGPG.
Oh man, well I can't see, man. I'm going blind. All right, share that. All right, we got New Moon this Sunday. What y'all have to do if y'all want to attend the New Moon in Atlanta, Georgia, what y'all have to do is y'all have to send an email to that Sons of Thunder Israelites @gmail.com. It's a long email name. I wish at the time I had the wherewithal to make our email SOT Israelites @gmail. It just didn't dawn on me all those years ago. All right. So send us an email. We're going to get you in the New Moon Feast in our location. We don't give away the address for safety reasons, so you have to RSVP. We'd appreciate it.
Would you post a class flyer?
For what?
for right now.
I'm talking about the class right now.
I'm saying, where did you post it?
It's on YouTube on our posts on our community. All right. So make sure y'all send the email there if you want to join us for the new moon. All right. That's this Sunday, 7:45 sharp, sundown. We will be keeping the new moon 12th month as we move and head towards Passover. Before Passover comes, you have a slew of feast days. Go ahead.
Before we move from the new moon, even for the brothers and sisters that won't be able to make it in person to the new moon, we'll be streaming it live on the Patreon. We'll be live to show the new moon class on the Patreon. We won't be on Facebook or YouTube with any of our lives other than camp anymore. But on the Patreon is where you'll find the new moon class.
All right. So this is our calendar. If you want this calendar, send us an email. We'll get you this calendar. The email is at the bottom. Sons of Thunder Israelites at Gmail. Same thing all around. All right. If you want this calendar, this is all of our new moons and all of our feast days coming up in person. We have the Feast of Purim. Make sure that you're not just RSVPing for Passover, but you also come into Purim. We got to get you in there. We have wonderful food, great edification. It's one of my favorite lessons to teach and instruct. It's always a good time. It's never been a bad Purim. Purim is also our gift-giving feast day. Make sure y'all get in the proper spirit. You have to send an email on RSVP so we can get you in the building. All right. We have seating for you. It's comfortable, bathrooms for men and women. And we have enough space so that y'all not standing on top of each other and sweating. All right. It's a nice event. All right. Make sure y'all RSVP for that. And of course, the Passover, our colors are going to be red and gold. If you want to come to the Passover, we do not have infinite seating. It's not going to be something that you can wait to the last minute. If you plan to join us, you need to be sending me those emails now. Same thing with Purim. All right. Now that we got that out of the way, we're going to share with you this month's sponsor. So for the second time, okay, for the second time, our family at the Truth of Yah board game chose to advertise with us. If you want to advertise with Sons of Thunder, all you have to do is send us an email and we'll send you over the requirements, and we advertise your righteous product for 30 days on all of our camp videos and on all of our classes. It's our way of sharing our platform with you. Make sure you hit us up if that's something that you're interested in. Once again, same email, Sons of Thunder Israelites at gmail.com. And without further ado, let's get right into it. All right. And shalom to them.
Game right here is fire, bro. Whoever know the Ak who make this, DM me, bro, so I can shout them out. This game right here is fire.
Call your family, call your friends, and come and play a game where we all say you 30 and the truth of y'all. It's a game that you can get in called the truth of y'all. So what you waiting for? Come get it. It's the truth of y'all. Learning the Bible never been more engaging. Increasing biblical knowledge never felt so amazing. Renewing minds and saving lives all while chasing justice, equity, and truth that is unshaken. It's the truth of y'all. Come get it. We can play it. It's the truth of y'all. What you waiting for? Come get it. It's the truth of y'all. Come get it. We can play it. It's the truth of y'all.
If you have not ordered Truth of Yah Value on board yet, click link in the bio. ASAP, visit our website, thetruthofyah.com. Shalom.
All right, shalom to them once again for choosing. They believe in our platform, and they said we're going to go one more month with y'all. All praise to the Most High. All right, so once again, if you want to have your product on here, just send us an email and we got you. Okay, Kum Yasha'Allah to Solomon McFadden, the Water King. All praise to the Most High. All right, Kum Yasha'Allah to Big Mai, the Water. All praise to the Most High, and to our latest member, Kanaya, for becoming a YouTube member. Once again, all of those benefits come with being a YouTube member, including, you know, unique emojis, priority comments, and even private comments, and especially free access to all of our live events. We got some beautiful debates coming up where we're actually getting the venue, and we're doing this like it's 2005 all over again. We're going back outside and we're going to defend these scriptures in public. One thing we're not doing as a nation, and we're going to go into that material tonight. The reason people are called church fathers is because somebody memorialized these people. The reason people are called church fathers is because somebody wrote down these people's names and memorialized them for all time's sake as authorities on scripture. Here it is. The Hebrew Israelites are undefeated with an unstoppable doctrine and some of the best teaching in the earth. And we're just trying to be seen. We're not memorializing what we're doing. Matter of fact, Esau is writing books about us ranking us and memorializing us and selling it to scoffers.
Yep.
But we're not writing down our own awakening and history. You are at the beginning of the awakening of the Israelites, learning who they are, who their people are. We are the Sons of Thunder Israelites. We're a camp that existed in 2023. Okay? We existed. We had a doctrine and a teaching. Who's memorializing that? Are we hoping that YouTube keeps these videos up forever and relying on their servers? Where's the book that says, Brother Yahweh all taught this? Okay, Priest Zabak taught that. Priest Daniel Allah taught this. Okay, Captain Tazariak taught that. And this was his opinion on the scripture. Because in our own way, we are church fathers. Why? Because we lead churches. Think on that for a second.
It's real.
We have nobody cataloging our awakening from a place of love. People are doing it like narcs. They're doing it like the FBI, but nobody's doing it from a place of love. We need that, okay? We need to be memorialized. I don't need to be talking about some Catholic Pope from the year 1300 and what he thought the Bible said. It needs to be what we think, because we prove all things, and Hebrew Israelite doctrine is unstoppable.
That's right.
Okay? I have to get them shirts made, because we've been saying that. Hebrew Israelite doctrine is unstoppable. And I say that on behalf of all my brothers in the spirit of Yahweh, while Yahweh Shai. All right, so tonight's lesson is called, Did Christ Change or Add to the Law? This lesson is not as simple as it seems. It's very technical. Why is it technical? Because sophisticated Christians will suggest to you that Jesus Christ taught things that do not appear in the Old Testament, and thus he has new laws, and thus we do not have to follow the laws as written in the Old Testament.
That don't make sense.
Listen to what I just said to you. They're not going to come at you. This is not tennis. They're not going to come at you, your turn, my turn. They're going to stack points. They're going to try to make several arguments in one argument, not proving anything, but since there's so many points made, it sounds right.
Right.
And then you sound like you're not dealing with everything, because what is the Hebrew Israelite style? One thing at a time. We build the house with one brick. That brick is faulty and got a crack in it. Take it out. Put a better brick. That brick is solid. Now we put another brick on top of it. Christians don't care about that. They put a brick, a basketball, they put a book. You know what I'm saying? They use crazy glue. Then they put a little concrete, right? Then they put some Gorilla Glue right there. It start leaning. They don't care. They put a stick to hold it up and build on top. Immaculate conception. You understand?
Yeah.
That's the way that they reason. We don't reason that way.
That's right.
All right. We don't reason that way. All right. So
So
SOT Soldier Sanctuary said he just ordered his Truth of Yah board game. All praises, man. All right. When they win, we win, man. You know why? Because it's all about the nation. What you was gonna say, brother?
Hey, me and Asha Ali, we was talking to a Christian this week, and he was doing that same exact thing, stacking points. And the man even went to a comic book and started using philosophy from a comic book. He's trying to prove the Trinity. He said, when you see Superman flying in the sky, where is Clark Kent?
What the hell?
Oh my God,
Yes.
bro.
He equated Christ to Clark Kent and equated Christ's divinity
He
to
cut y'all
Superman.
on that one.
Nah, he didn't.
That doesn't make any sense.
That's so stupid.
It sounds right though.
Yeah,
All right, especially to a novice, man. Especially to a novice. It sounds right. What we got to do is we have to be more solid with what we teach. All right, I'm just sharing all the member comments right now. Okay, sharing all the member comments right now. The water for believing in what we do. Sharing all the member comments right now, man. Sharing all the member comments right now. The water for believing in what we do, man. Sharing all the member comments right now. All praises to the Most High, man. All praises to the Most High. All right, yeah. So make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe the video to the channel, rather. Okay. All of this administrative work, but this is actually the work of running the channel. Running the channel is a lot more than meets the eye. Okay, we gotta fight with YouTube. They want to take it down. They feel like it's against community guidelines.
Right.
Yeah. What y'all teaching, man? What y'all teaching, man? And we have to fight and claw and scratch, man. We have to fight claw, and scratch. You know what? At the end of the day, it's all going to pay off, man.
That's right.
Because that labor is in Christ, man.
Yes,
And
it is.
he's going to give us the increase when he's ready.
That's
So,
right.
read the last verse of Sirach, matter of fact, before we get started with the lesson. Read the last verse of Sirach. If you're on the clubhouse, make sure y'all share the room, man. This is a good lesson, and I guarantee you your friends and brothers and sisters want to know this thing. Read that.
It's the book of Ecclesiasticus, chapter 50 and verse 30. And it reads, work your work betimes, and in his time he will give you your reward.
So always be busy, keep grinding, and when the Most High is ready,
It's like in chapter 51 and verse 30.
yeah, work your work all the time, and when the Most High is good and ready, he's going to give you your reward. All right, and it's done in his time. So this lesson, now listen to me, this lesson is explaining to you that Christ did say things that seem to not appear in the Old Testament. However, it is our position that Christ did not add to or change the law. One thing we'll notice is they have something called the law of Christ. Give me 1 Corinthians 9 and 21. All right. Start at verse 20.
It's the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 9 and verse 20.
Go ahead.
And unto the Jews I became as a Jew,
Okay.
that I might gain the Jews.
Mhm.
To them that are under the law, as under the law, that I might gain them that are under the law.
Go ahead.
To them that were without the law, as without the law, being not without the law to God, but under the law to Christ.
This is a problem because once we no, it's okay. They're not ready yet. Once we start discussing this idea, the Christians will have you believe that the law of Christ is something different than the law of God. Therefore, you need not keep the commandments.
Mm-hmm.
Listen to what I'm saying to you. Look how clever. And this doctrine is old. The idea that you don't have to keep the commandments in earnest is an old doctrine. That ain't yesterday. They've been teaching this for centuries.
Right.
That's why the world is how you see it.
Mm-hmm.
This idea is sent. Look, I'm gonna stack the bricks. This idea is centered around the idea, well, there's a law of Christ. And the law of Christ is not the same as the law of Moses. And the law of Moses is the law. But if we're doing the law of Christ, you need not do the law of Moses. Therefore, it's not based on the Old Testament. Therefore, it's a new thing. See how they did that?
Mm-hmm.
I built it and then I took it down and gave you my doctrine, but I didn't prove any of that with examples, right?
So like antinomianism.
There you go. I didn't prove that with examples. I gave it to you with all philosophy and my own words.
Right.
And it sounds about right.
Right.
But one thing you got to understand is God's law was called the law of Moses.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean that God's law went away and now we're following the law of Moses, because nobody will argue with you that the law of Moses is the same thing as the law of God.
Right.
Why is it called the law of Moses? Because he delivered it to you. But no one ever tried to categorize the law of Moses as something different than the laws of God.
Mm-hmm.
Except modern Christians. They tried that. Go to Nehemiah 8 and chapter 1. And we had to cut them on that. We got a new member too. Commit to the truth. Hey, what's up? Welcome to the channel. Welcome to the channel, man. Go ahead.
This is the book of Nehemiah, chapter 8 and verse 1. And all the people gathered themselves together as one man in the street that was before the water gate.
Mhm.
And they spake unto Ezra the scribe to bring the book of the law of Moses, which the Lord had commanded to Israel.
Now look, it was the book of the law of Moses, but who gave the commandment? It was the Lord. Read on.
You want me to read all the way?
No, jump down to the point.
This is the book of Nehemiah 8 and 8. So they read in the book of the law of God.
What?
They read out of the book of the law of God distinctly.
So they read in the book of the law of God distinctly, but a nickname for the law of God is the law of Moses.
That's right.
So why is it now when we get to the New Testament, the law of Christ is not a nickname for the law of God anymore?
Good.
Why is the law of Christ not a nickname for the law of God anymore? Because you don't want it to be.
Right.
It's fine, the law of Moses. No one out here is arguing, well, Moses came with his own way and he had new teachings that are different from the law of God. Nobody argues that. And when they do, we cut them with that precept.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Right there. We cut him with that precept. Nehemiah 8:1,8. So you're going to read verse 1 and then verse 8.
Right.
Right. Somebody write that in the chat. I'm going to post that. Nehemiah 8:1,8. That means you don't read the verses in between. You read verse 1, then you jump right to verse 8. Somebody write that in the chat. Now, nobody tries to nickname the law of Christ as the law of God. What's wrong with you? Why not? It was fine for the law of Moses to be the law of God.
Right.
But the law of Christ all of a sudden cannot be the law of God. Why not? That would mean that Jesus Christ came to change what God said.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody want to say it like that.
Yeah.
See how slowly I'm building the house?
Right.
That would mean that Jesus Christ came to say something different than what God's. Nobody going to say Moses said something different than what God said, because God told Moses to say that.
Right.
But all of a sudden, here's Christ. So now Christ is saying something different than what God said. Our Christian brothers don't like to move at this pace.
Mm-hmm.
So to make it work, you know what people do? Christ is God. Oop, whoop, whoop, whoop.
Right.
So therefore, God is not contradicting himself, because God got the power to add to or change what he said already.
Right.
Oh,
That's
no,
confusion.
no. That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Read what you're holding.
Khan, this is the book of Malachi, chapter 3 and verse 6. For I am the Lord, I change not. Therefore, ye sons of Jacob are not consumed.
I am the Lord, I change not. So if God's laws is this, they're going to stay this.
Right.
But the Christians stacked doctrines. They said, first, there's the law of Christ. And the law of Christ is not the law of Moses, because it's the law of Christ.
Right.
And since it's not the law of Moses, the law of Christ is different than the laws of God. And since law of Christ is not the laws of God, they're different. And since they're different, then you don't have to worry about the laws of God anymore. All you have to follow is the laws of Christ. See how they do that?
Yeah.
We're not going to build the house like that. We're going to figure out if what Christ is teaching is different. And the problem is, people will teach you Christ, but what don't they teach you?
What Christ
Christ
said.
They won't teach you what he said.
Right.
Go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 18 verse 18.
Come on.
And I will raise them up a prophet from among their brethren, like unto thee. And I will put my words in his mouth, and he shall speak unto them all that I should command him.
That means whatever the prophet that comes, he's giving you the law of God.
Yeah.
Right.
So the law of Christ must be the law of God.
Mhm.
But wait, what do I mean when I say that? I mean, it is the same thing.
Right.
Give me let's deal with some more challenges. Go to James chapter 2 and verse 12 down. Look at this. See, aren't we all to be judged? We must face the judgment, right?
That's right.
What are we going to be judged by? This is something else. See, now that I put my first brick, I'm now on top of my brick, I'm putting mortar or slime, like it says in the Old Testament. If we're going to be judged, what are we going to be judged by?
Right.
It's the book of James, chapter 2 and verse 12. So speak ye, and so do, as they that shall be judged by the law of liberty.
Now, all of a sudden, I'm no longer going to be judged by the laws of God, but I'm going to be judged by the laws of liberty. Does it say that in Revelation when we face the judgment seat in chapter 20?
No.
21? I think it's chapter 21. Are we going to be judged by the law of liberty? So instead of our Christian brothers figuring out what James is saying, they make a doctrine. There is no more law of Moses. We're now under the law of liberty. Well, is the law of liberty the same thing as the law of Christ? Yeah. Based on what? Because we say so.
Right.
Right.
Because we say so. Now the law of liberty is the same as the law of Christ, but it's not the same as the law of God, and it's separate from the laws of Moses.
Right.
See how we doing this?
Right. So there's 4 different types of law.
I'm sure there are Christian scholars and theologians and apologists saying, look at this idiot, and they tearing me down. He doesn't know anything about hermeneutics. He has these racist black Hebrew Israelites have no bit. I'm making a decent point. What proof do you have that the law of liberty is the law of Christ? Well, let's look at some precepts. Go down to James 1 and 25. Not down, but go back to James 1 and 25.
James 1 and 25.
Read
but
that.
Whoso looketh unto the perfect law of liberty.
No, it doesn't say that.
It's but whoso looketh unto the perfect law of liberty.
It cannot say that because the law is perfect, making wise the simple. What law was that though? Go where that's written. Go where that's written. So basically, if we were taking notes, we're in the preface, we're in the forward. We haven't gotten into the meat of the subject yet. We're discussing something.
Psalms 19:7.
Yes, read.
It's Psalms 19:7. It says the law of the Lord is perfect.
So what law is perfect? The law of the Lord. Wouldn't that be the law in the land when James is writing?
Right. James told Paul, hey, they think you're not keeping the law. Now go do the law of purification.
What law is that? And where's that found?
The law of the Lord.
Numbers chapter 6.
Because the law of the Lord is what?
Perfect.
And what does it do?
Converting the soul.
Read on.
The testimony of the Lord is sure.
And what does it do?
Making wise the simple.
So what is James talking about in verse 25 of chapter 1? Read it again.
This is James chapter 1 and 25.
Come on.
But whoso looketh unto the perfect law of liberty and continueth therein, he being not a forgetful hearer, but a doer of the work, this man shall be blessed in his deed.
What is he talking about? And how would you even know what he's talking about if he wrote a letter to you? Wait, listen to what, look, I understand you went to 8 colleges. Listen to what I'm asking. James wrote a letter to somebody. They have to know what he's talking about.
Yeah.
The perfect law of liberty. What are we talking about? What are you teaching? And the works? What are the works of the law of? This is where the Christians start to make it up as they go. The law of liberty is the law of Christ, and the law of Christ is love God and love your neighbor. And that's the law of liberty. Is it? Is love God and love your neighbor the law of liberty?
Right.
Is that what law of liberty even means right there? And this is where we get into the confusion and where we start making things up or connecting dots that don't necessarily connect.
Right.
Or, as I like to say, using your imagination.
So like it.
Go ahead.
Because y'all will see that when the Christians teach, right? They see law of liberty, and because they already have a preconceived notion, oh, that's talking about the law of Christ.
Right.
But if y'all see how we determine the doctrine of the Bible, he said the perfect law of liberty. What in the scripture is ever called a perfect law?
Right.
Oh, the law of the Lord.
Of course.
We're not drawing our conclusions by our own opinion, our doctrine. We're drawing our opinion and drawing the doctrine from what the word actually says already.
So now what we have to do is interpolate. The liberty that you have comes from who? It comes from Christ. So now read that. Read that.
My bad. I should have had it.
Now we're going to connect some dots before we get into, did Christ actually change or add to the law?
This is Galatians chapter 5 and verse 1.
Read.
Stand fast, therefore, in the liberty wherewith Christ hath made us free, and be not entangled again with the yoke of bondage.
Stop. The yoke of bondage is the law of God. We're not entangled in the laws of God. We're under the law of liberty. Therefore, I need not do the law of God. Wait, what are you saying when you say that? Right. What you're saying is, I no longer have to keep the commandments. I have liberty not to keep the commandments. Is that what James is saying?
Wow.
And that's where it gets crazy, because when you read James, James was like, bro, you got to keep the law.
Yeah.
No, he doesn't. He says, if you broke one, you broke them all. Yes. So don't break them. No, he said that to say we don't have to keep the law. Hey, y'all got to mute y'all video in the back if you want to call. You gotta mute that in the back if you want to call. If you want to speak, just press *6 and you'll come off mute. All right. You got to mute in the back if you're going to be on the call. Okay. You are saying things that the Bible doesn't say to make your doctrine work.
Right.
So now, since we're not under the law of bondage, which you call the law of God,
The yoke of bondage.
the yoke of bondage, well, let's just call it the law of bondage, right? They do stuff. Let me do something. Keep it simple. Now we're under the law of liberty, but the law of liberty isn't the law of God. The law of liberty makes it possible for me not to have to keep the laws of God. What you're saying is I can commit adultery.
Right.
No, I don't mean that. I'll say, why not? Because Paul said you can't do adultery. What you've done is, unless I have access to Paul's letters, unless I have access to James' letters, unless I have access to specific letters from Paul, I have no idea how to please the Most High God.
That's dangerous.
Forget what's already in the earth, the gospel, the Psalms, the prophets, and the law. Unless I got James, the letter, if I happen to be a part of the Church of Galatia, right?
Right.
I happen to be a part of the church in Rome. I have no idea how to please God. I'm an incomplete Christian. That's what you're saying. And you have to be saying that. Because there would be no way to make your doctrine work without these verses. But if we use wisdom, these verses work, so do the gospel, so do the laws of God. It is my position that Jesus Christ taught you to keep the commandments in a practical way. It is my position that Jesus Christ taught you that instead of putting you to death for sins that cannot be justified under the law, I'm going to die to justify you of those sins. However, you cannot continue in those sins.
Right.
That's my position.
Right.
I bet you I can go in the Bible and get verses that say that. And that's where the argument breaks down and they start to fight us. Hey, we got a new member.
Hey,
Welcome to the channel. All praises to the Most High. All right, we get 9 more members. We can add some more emojis and do some more things with the chat. You know, you got to break thresholds. So that's all praises, man. We're moving towards that. So what I'm saying to you is your doctrine is actually unfair. If I don't have a book of Galatians, I have no idea how to worship God.
Right.
Yes?
Right.
You got to be saying.
So basically, you have to be saying, unless you have the book of Galatians, you cannot understand this mystery. You need this. That's unfair, because why didn't Paul write that to all the churches? Do you see?
Right.
Our position is much more practical, and we're going to go into it. It is our position that Jesus Christ's law is the same law as the law of God. The only thing that changes in Christ's law is the judgments. We're not putting you to death anymore. You have the opportunity to repent because you have the ultimate sacrifice now, which can bring you back from certain death that the law requireth you to face. This is the mystery and the thing that you should take joy in. What y'all have done as Christianity for the last millennium, you have told everyone you don't have to keep God's laws because of Christ. And it has led to a world where now children don't even have a gender anymore. You did that.
Right.
You did that. Where if the laws of God were actually the law of the land, there would be peace and happiness on this place and the kingdom would come. And you don't want that. You do not want that.
Right.
So what I did was I just went through your points from a biased perspective. I'm an Israelite. I'm fair. Of course, I'm not going to fervently represent it like you would, but we'll welcome you to our stage where you could.
Right.
And we'll take the challenge. We're not avoiding nobody.
Right.
But I'm telling you straightforward, your positions are unfair. Unless I have Galatians chapter 3, I can't prove that all nations can be saved. That's what you're saying, Christian. Because I got a whole Bible that says it's about the Israelites. But you show up with Galatians 3 as if it contradicts all of that. But what you're really saying is, unless I have Galatians 3, I can't make this point.
Right.
So then why didn't Paul say that in all of his letters? Because that's something that is very important.
Right. It's very important.
And you never looked at the scriptures that way. Y'all never looked at the scriptures that way. Y'all been very selfish and y'all have been believing convenient doctrines.
Right.
So sophisticated Christians will try some things with y'all, and I'm gonna deal with it. The law of Christ, when you look it up, it tells you most of it comes from the Sermon on the Mount, the idea of it, that Christ got his own laws. But that would be unfounded when Christ says, my doctrine is not mine own, but my Father who sent me.
Like, that should be the end all be all right there.
Well, for reasonable people, it is. But what Christians will do is take a block. Now, this is a Lego. This is not even a brick.
That's
Yeah.
real.
See, Jesus Christ actually is the Father. So when he comes with new laws, he's not contradicting himself. He's just bringing in a new curriculum. Where does it say that?
Right.
And how is that fair to all the Israelites that perished under sin?
Right.
The Most High sent them into slavery. People put their eyes out and hung them up by their hands for breaking his commandments. But you saying the time would come where they don't even have to do it no more? You could be a Muslim now.
Right.
You could be a Buddhist as long as you nice. So
Yeah,
come
idol
on.
worship.
Right.
Come on, man. We could make graven images now
Right.
and build Italy and Rome with it.
Right.
It's okay now. It wasn't okay before, but it's okay now. Make him a little more, make his nose a little skinny. It's okay now. That's what y'all are saying.
Right.
Pastor Aiden says, we're the normal ones. You guys are the weirdos. That's a very academic. Let me put that on the screen.
Very,
that was very academic.
Very academic.
That was very academic.
Very scholastic.
Very scholastic.
Very scholastic. We're impressed, Pastor Aiden.
That was very
Watch this. Pastor Aiden, this is for you. Okay? Because this is called an open discussion on Clubhouse. So it's an open discussion here. Okay? If you raise your hand, we will bring you to the stage so that you can speak. And if you ask questions on the call, we will talk to you. Pastor Aiden, that is the invite. Please come and explain your doctrine. Now, go to Matthew 5:22. Sophisticated Christians will hit you with this. They will say to you, Jesus Christ is teaching something that you never seen in the Old Testament ever. And you got to deal with it. Well, let's see. Matthew 5:22. Read that.
Matthew chapter 5, verse 22.
Come on.
But I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother
Mhm.
without a cause
Mhm.
shall be in danger of the judgment. And whosoever shall say to his brother, Rakah, shall be in danger of the council. But whosoever shall say, thou fool, shall be in danger of hellfire.
And a Christian will say, you never seen that in the law. So Christ got strict rules to tell you what you can and cannot say. That does not appear in the law of Moses. You must respect it, proving that there is a law of Christ. Does everybody understand that argument? Does everybody understand that argument? The challenge is, it's going to be presented to you this way. Show me in the Old Testament where Christ said that, where God said something like this, right?
Right.
And if you can't, then that means the law of Christ is different than the law of Moses, and you busted, right?
No.
Right?
Right.
God.
Weirdo, man.
Now we laugh, but a new brother in the truth or the people that watch my classes, y'all might be like, damn, I don't know
That's
where
real.
that's at.
That's real.
How could Christ actually say that? And we got a new member.
All praise Shalom.
Araya
praise
Banya Howard. Shalom.
Shalom,
Welcome to the
Araya.
channel. Welcome to the channel. I'm going to give y'all a history lesson and show some things. Okay. And I fully expect our Muslim friends to parachute in from the sky.
From the rafters.
In Matthew 5:22, the statement, whoever is angry with his brother without a cause is disputed in theology. There are Alexandrian manuscripts that do not contain without a cause. So it would read, whoever is angry with his brother shall be in danger of the judgment. Now, there's an argument. The Mormons argue for the Book of Mormon, saying our Book of Mormon quotes this and does not include without a cause. So come be a Mormon. The Alexandrian tradition followers say our manuscripts are older than yours, you King James Bible readers, you Byzantine tradition readers, and our manuscripts do not contain without a cause. So Christ was actually coming to teach something new, and he was teaching you can't even be angry with your brother, or you're going to be in danger of the judgment. He was teaching you something to make you a better Christian, to remove anger completely from your personality, where we become kinder, gentler human beings. That's their position. Do y'all understand that so far? Let's get a little bit of history. All right. Let's get a little bit of history. I'm going to show a graphic on the screen. What's wrong, Chris? You taking deep breaths?
No, I'm looking for precepts for this verse.
Oh, good luck with that. Now, here's a table of early manuscripts and versions. Can they hear me? Can y'all still hear me on the YouTube? If y'all can still hear me on the YouTube, let me know. She said he sound like golden sparkles. That's an inside joke.
It's real.
Can y'all hear me on the YouTube? Okay, yeah. Now, the oldest New Testament manuscript is called Papyrus 67. It's about the size of a business card, and it is a fragment of the book of John. That is the oldest biblical manuscript that we possess in the earth this day. Muslims is corruption. It's only a business card size. You do not. That's not the point. And we have we have a lesson called Textual Criticism of the New Testament. You need to watch that. We're not talking about that tonight. Okay. That manuscript does not include without a cause, because this verse is not in that. It's John. This is Matthew.
Right.
Okay. Advancing. You have the Coptic translation, which is from the 3rd through the 5th century. It does contain that. You have the Syriac translation. It does contain that. Then you have that Codex Vaticanus, which is an Alexandrian manuscript. It does not. Sinaiticus, Alexandrian manuscript. It does not. Okay. But then you have a Sinaiticus alteration, which is supposed to be edited properly and scrutinized. When they lay next to each other, it's not like we did it. It's they found these things. And this one was scrutinized by a scholar of the time, a scribe, and he repaired the document, fixing all errors in previous versions. Sometimes the translator would look away and look back, and he would do verse 11 twice. Sometimes the translator would fall asleep and not finish the verse, and when he wake up, he just starts the next verse, because this had to be done by hand. That version does contain it. We have the Latin translation. It does contain it. Okay. This is very important to understand. These are early manuscripts, and there's a dispute between them. Okay. What I want you to do is, as a Bible believer and as someone who understands what an ancient manuscript, this wasn't written in medieval times like your Quran, when they got excellent ways of preserving text. Okay. No, this was written on animal skin. Somebody kept it in a basement through persecution and war. And then somebody had to make a copy of that thing so that it could be another copy. And that person got put to death, and they burned his house. You got half of that one. That's how old these manuscripts are. It survived. Okay. This is for people who understand that. Does without a cause change the doctrine of what this verse is teaching? Secondly, can we use the Bible and make sense of this with surrounding text that we possess as Bible scholars? Can we do that? Go to Ephesians 4:26. Yeah, we got a new member.
Shalom.
Rico Israel. Shalom King. Welcome to the channel, man, and everything that comes with it. Mike Allah says, Khan. Yeah, we got some background noise on the call. Please mute your phone if you're not speaking. All right, I try to give you opportunity. You're not getting it. All right, so now If you want to speak, press *6. Gad the Warrior says, Shalom, just joining. Shalom, Gad.
Shalom.
Member of the channel. Now, Ephesians 4:26. We're going to solve what is the wisest translation of Matthew 5:22 versus the ancient manuscripts that we possess and make sense of this. Go ahead.
Ephesians 4:26. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath.
Now, we got an issue here.
What's that?
If the original translation suggested somehow, listen to me good. So the person that I unmuted to continue to make noise, or is that Israel? That's Israel. I had to mute him. All right. Israel is probably working right now. Captain Israel out in Alabama. He's probably working. Read that one more time because that was a distraction. Go ahead.
Ephesians 4:26. Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath.
Now, Christ just said in Matthew 5 that whoever is angry with his brother without a cause shall be in danger. That's my translation. But there's an argument for earlier translations not containing without a cause, or it's roughly translated as harshly or rashly or vainly. And the English, the best sense is vain is for nothing.
For nothing. Right.
So the best sense is without a cause. That's why. That's a good translation.
Right.
That word, some people say, is not in the older translations. And because they're older, they must be right. Forget that you have the majority text and the most.
Right.
That's what your King James is based on.
Right.
The most manuscripts that agree. We're going to go with this older manuscript we found that does not contain that and give it authenticity because it's older. Okay. But wait a minute. If Christ, let's read it like that. Whosoever is angry shall be in danger of the judgment. What did Ephesians 4:26 say? Read that one more time.
Be ye angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath.
The Bible said, be ye angry.
Right.
Now, if this is after Christ,
Right.
and that verse is not disputed, manuscripts agree.
Right.
Problem. If Christ was actually teaching, if you angry, you in danger of the judgment, how could therefore Paul teach, go and be angry, just don't sin? If the anger was a sin.
Right.
See the wisdom and the patience. Go to Psalms 4:4. Oh, you had that?
Yeah.
You go to James 1:20. And then you go to Mark 3. No, you can't do that. Go ahead.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 4 and verse 4.
Go ahead.
Stand in awe and sin not. Commune with your own heart upon your bed and be still. Selah.
Read it one more time.
Stand in awe and sin not.
That can roughly translate as be frustrated or astonished or angry. And what?
Sin not.
That's where Paul got that from.
Wow.
You see that?
Con.
Be angry, stand in awe, be taken aback, be shocked,
Right.
be irritated, but don't sin. Commune with your own mind. We're gonna go into that. Read the James 1:20.
This is the book of James, chapter 1 and verse 20.
Come on.
It reads, for the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God.
See, the wrath of man does not work righteousness. Come on.
Wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your soul.
So now what you're supposed to do is lay apart your filthiness and superfluity. What is that word?
What is superfluity?
So I go to Google, I type define superfluity. Right? And you know what it means? Unnecessarily large, unnecessary thing. Wait. Go back to Matthew 5:22. Read that again.
It says, Matthew 5:22, but I say unto you that whosoever is angry with his brother without a cause,
unnecessarily without cause,
shall be in danger of the judgment.
Excessively, unnecessarily.
That's a cut.
This backs up that this translation is right,
Right.
because these are brothers after Christ's death. And Paul said, you could be angry, just don't sin. He got that from
David.
the law. Christ called Psalms the law,
Uh-huh.
which says, stand in awe, just don't sin.
Right.
You could be mad, you could be upset, don't sin. Going back, James says, don't be unnecessary, right?
Uh-huh.
You could wrath worketh unrighteousness. So lay apart that unnecessary. So is anger wrath? Wrath is that revenge spirit. Wrath is that I got to take it to that next level. Now you try to play me.
Right.
See, you could be angry, but now you're going on to sin. You dragging it, bro. You ain't have to do all that. We could have
Right.
talked. You
Right.
didn't have to play me like that, or you didn't have to meddle in that,
Yeah.
or you didn't have to try to hurt me that way.
Mhm.
Now it's making sense that this translation might be perfect.
Mhm.
And those manuscripts that did not include it, and I want to get the correct word. The word, I can't pull it now, and I just saw it today in my studies. It's like parablesis or something like that. What happens is when translatory work is done, there are letters that end and begin with the same letter. And what happens is the translator will omit through human error, because he stops at a letter, and then when he begins to pick up his work from his notes, at what letter, because there ain't no periods, ain't no columns. It's a scroll. If you ever look at an ancient manuscript, this is bananas. How you even know what you're reading? How do you even know where the word begins? Because it's literally just like run-on sentence, just letters, right? It's so difficult. And this literary term means that you drop the letter and you mark, I stopped at this character. And then when you began your translatory work the next day, you pick up from that same letter. It is very easy to omit a word when you do that. You skip a whole section, because not a section, a word, because you started at alpha and you picked up from alpha, but there was a space in the scroll that it's alpha, 2-3 characters, and alpha again. And you omit those 2-3 characters as you begin your translatory work. All right. I'm not afraid of that. See how honest I am about that? That comes with studying the scriptures, man.
Yeah.
Your Muslim brothers don't understand this work is done from antiquity. This is not done yesterday. And because we have a multitude of manuscripts, it is possible for us to deduce which is the correct and proper translation. And what we are seeing through wisdom and proper biblical hermeneutics, we let the Bible teach its own doctrine without a cause, should be there. Now I want to show y'all something. This is another table. Okay, I want to show y'all something. All right. Is that the table I just showed? Okay, yeah, I just showed you that one. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna get it for you. I want to show y'all this one. Okay. Now check this out. Remember, it's the same one. Hold on 1 second. I don't like that, because I got 2 different ones pulled up, but why is it showing the same one? Hold on. We're going to go into some church history right now, which, we don't often get into. A lot of these guys do go off in doctrine, but there's points that need to be made from a historical standpoint. Okay. And thank you for your patience with me. Now, what I want to show you is this table, because look what it's showing you. Now, that was just me. I can't blame nobody for that.
In the meantime, Pastor Aiden, click the link. You still here? Ain't clicked the link yet.
Oh, my man, scared.
Oh, he's still talking?
Mm-hmm.
He's a troll.
Now, These are the writings of your early church fathers that use and dispute the use of without a cause in Matthew 5 and 22. You have Justin from 165 AD. Now, your earliest manuscripts that are going to be respected are from around this time, 200, 160, 180. Justin did not acknowledge the without a cause. But after that, you have a famous man named Irenaeus, well respected, and he does. Okay, Irenaeus does. After that, you have another well respected man, but later, Tertullian, he does not. Origen, well respected, he does not. You have Cyprian, well respected, he does. You have Eusebius, well respected, and he does. This is disputed. So what did we do? We didn't go by the words of men. We didn't make flesh our arm.
Right.
We let the Bible make sense of it, and superfluity was key because it means unnecessary. And then Paul told us, be angry, but don't sin. That aligns with the law. And then you have Christ himself. Go to Mark 3 and read verse 1. Mello's a new member. Yo, what up, Mello?
Shalom, Mello.
Welcome to the membership and all the privileges. Riddles, thank you. Thank you so much, Riddles. All praises to the Most High, man.
Mark 3 and 1.
Mark 3 and 1. Mark is my favorite gospel. I like the way it reads. There are arguments that Matthew is the oldest, and then there are other arguments that Mark is the oldest. People shoot that down and say there's no way. But Mark is the way it reads is very special. Read this, Mark 3 and 1.
The book of Mark, chapter 3 and verse 1.
Come on.
And he entered again into the synagogue, and there was a man there which had a withered hand.
Now this dude got a bad hand. Come on.
And they watched him, whether he would heal him on the Sabbath day, that they might accuse him.
Now that's the Pharisees is being jerks, complete haters, because they can't do nothing for this man.
Right.
He got a withered bad hand. Not to make mockery. He got a bad hand, but they can't do nothing for him. But they're going to watch and see if Jesus Christ is going to change this man's life. I say this all the time. There are people out here with mental disability. You think they parents don't fantasize about the day because they already love this child.
Right.
And the work that's done to take care of a child with mental disability is unbelievable. Those people are saints.
That's real.
And may the Most High remember them and wash away their sins. Because taking care of a child with disability requires patience that I cannot imagine. But you think them parents ain't looking forward to the day where they can actually talk to their baby.
Yeah.
Now, Christ got the power to do that.
Right.
And the Pharisees is on the side hating on somebody that can do that instead of pushing people to have their lives improve. And we know a man that can heal you. Bring you to him. Yahushua, you got to do this for my God. It's my guy, man.
Right.
He want to talk to his son for the first time. His son ain't right. Heal him. You could do it. They not doing that. They standing on the side hoping to catch him in an offense. Read on. Shout out to Yvonnya, new member.
Shalom.
Got
Verse 3. And he saith unto the man which had the withered hand, stand forth.
Read a little bit louder. A little bit louder.
Verse 3. And he saith unto the man which had the withered hand, stand forth. And he saith unto them, is it lawful to do good on the Sabbath days?
Come on, man.
Or to do evil, to save life, or to kill? But they held their peace.
They didn't have nothing to say to that.
Okay.
Answer me that. Is it lawful to do well on the Sabbath day? I dare you to say no.
Right.
To save life? I dare you to say I can't save a life on the Sabbath.
Right.
Is it lawful to kill on the Sabbath? I dare you to say no. Right?
Right.
Read on. And they was wise. They was wise to hold their peace. There was no reason for you to say nothing. Go ahead.
Verse 5. And when he had looked around, when he had looked round about on them with anger.
With what?
With anger.
How did Christ look at them?
With anger.
Is this the same Christ that said, whosoever is angry shall be in danger of the judgment? That can't work because now Christ is in danger of the judgment.
Right.
But we know that Christ is the Lamb without blemish that never sinned.
Right.
And he's not a hypocrite either.
Right.
So if you in danger of judgment just for being angry, how can Christ ever get angry?
Right.
That don't make no sense. So the answer is there too. without a cause should be there. That makes perfect sense. And Irenaeus is a witness from antiquity
Come on.
that it was
there.
right.
So just because we don't have the manuscript that's that old that says it, all that means is we didn't find it yet. There was a time we had no Dead Sea Scrolls. There was a time we had no Alexandrian, Washingtonian, Vaticanus, Sinaiticus manuscript. It wasn't found. So who knows? But since I have a witness from that time period, that's a strong witness. And this shows you that even Christ got what? Angry. Read on out.
Time. And when he had looked round about on them with anger, being grieved for the hardness of their hearts, he saith unto the man, stretch forth thine hand. And he stretched it out, and his hand was restored whole as the other.
Best day of his life. I could use my hand, bro. People
Right.
looking at me.
Right.
These people looking at me like something wrong with me. They don't talk to me. I can't work. Nobody want to. They treat me like I'm a monster. Look at my hand. You know, they laugh at me. Look at my hand now. That's the best day of his life.
Yeah.
So that's why Christ was mad. You niggas, man. You don't even want to see nobody happy.
Yeah.
And he had indignation.
You wasn't even gonna help him.
He wasn't even going to help him.
You wasn't even gonna give your hand for his.
Right.
Y'all understand that? So he wasn't angry without a cause, was he? He was grieved for the hardness. He had a reason.
Right.
Yeah.
This translation makes sense.
Right.
So what? It's still a new teaching. You know, forget the treasury of the scripture I just showed, the history that I quickly ran through. I'm sure other brothers could have explained it better.
You're right.
I did it as swift as I could and to not be boring. They still not going to be satisfied.
Right.
But wait a minute. Is this a new teaching? If we let without a cause stand, we have a point. Go to Sirach 8 and 11. Sirach 8 and 11.
At the water to Yavanya and Lit Earl for
Water.
donations. All praise to the Most High.
That's
Lit
right.
Earl said, sorry, I've been here, but
Can't nobody hear you. Got your hand in your
he
mouth.
said, sorry, I've been here, but we're all throwing up. Thanks for the edifying. Please keep us in your prayers. Happy Shabbat.
We will.
We
We
got
will.
you.
And Brother Judah of Facebook asked me to send some prayers up for him. Most High keep you safe.
Sirach 8 and what?
Sirach 8 and 11.
This is the book of Sirach, chapter 8 and verse 11. It says, rise not in anger at the presence of an injurious person.
So you're not even supposed to rise in your anger. Come on.
Lest he lie and wait to entrap thee in thy words.
And you know, people try that with me all the time. They like to play with me, and then when I get mad, look what he's doing.
See,
That's the way they deal with me. That's the best way to deal with y'all all. Because I'm sincere. Like I wear my heart on my sleeve. They take advantage, right? But I got that scripture to help me be better. Go to Sirach 10 and 18.
Sirach 10 and 18.
Y'all have to throw y'all voice.
It says, pride was not made for man, nor furious anger.
What type of anger?
Nor furious anger
Come on.
for them that are born of woman.
That anger without a cause, that extra level. Is Christ really teaching something new?
Mm-hmm.
Is Christ really teaching you something new?
Yo,
No.
the Psalms taught it. Sirach taught it.
It's already been here.
Yeah.
It's in the Psalms. It's in Sirach. The apostles agree.
Come on.
Hey, the brother in Christ agree.
Go to 1 Maccabees 2 and 24. Got a problem. 1 Maccabees 2 and 24.
2 and 24. It reads, which things when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with
No,
zeal.
jump up and show them what they saw.
All right,
Jump up and show them what he saw. All right.
This is the book of
Y'all didn't come to Feast of Dedication.
They did not.
Y'all didn't watch the lesson. Y'all wanted to see us argue with crazy people. Y'all didn't learn this. Read.
This is the book. This is the book of First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 7. I gotta read that. Verse 6, right? Well, I really gotta go to verse chapter 1. But this is the book of First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 6.
Brother. Jump up to verse 18 and read that.
This is the book of First Maccabees, chapter 2 and verse 18.
Yes.
And he says, "Now therefore come thou first and fulfill the king's commandment, like as all the heathen have done. Yea, and the men of Judah also, and such as remain in Jerusalem. So shalt thou and thy house be in the number of the king's friends, and thou and thy children be honored with silver and gold, and many rewards." And Mattathias answered and spake with a loud voice, "Through all the nations that are under the king's dominion obey him, and fall away every one from his religion, of their fathers, and give consent to his commandment. Yet I and my sons and my brethren walk in the covenant of our fathers."
That's right.
God forbid that we should forsake the law and the ordinances. We will not hearken to the king's orders to go from our religion, either on the right hand or the left.
And
now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all the sacrifice of the altar, which was at Modin, according to the king's commandment.
And
which things
so Mattathias just said, we're not going to defy the Most High.
Doing that.
We're not doing that. And one of the Jews said, well, I'm going to do it. And what happened?
It says, now when he had left speaking these words, there came one of the Jews in the sight of all the sacrifices on the altar, which was at Modin.
Got to read it right, There came one of the Jews in the sight of all to sacrifice on the altar, which was at Modin.
Which things when Mattathias saw, he was inflamed with zeal, and his reins trembled. Neither could he forbear to show his anger according to judgment.
To forbear to show his what?
His anger according to judgment.
Did Mattathias sin? Because what's going to happen next? He kills that guy. Did Mattathias sin when he killed that guy? The Bible said he could not forbear to show his anger according to judgment. Jesus Christ kept the feast of dedication. I never saw him teach against Mattathias.
Right.
So anger cannot be a sin. So Jesus Christ can't be teaching nothing new. All he's teaching is the law right there. Control yourself. Do not be unnecessarily. There's no reason for that. There's no judgment that calls for that. Don't be angry to that level. That's not going against the laws of God. That's not a new teaching. Leviticus 19:17.
It's the book of Leviticus chapter 19 and verse 17. Thou shalt not hate thy brother in thy heart.
Come on.
Thou shalt in any wise rebuke thy neighbor.
You got to rebuke him. Come on.
And not suffer sin upon him.
And you can't suffer sin upon him. This man said, I'm about to sin. I'm about to do idolatry right in front of your face.
Right.
Read on.
And thou shalt not avenge nor bear any grudge against the children of thy people.
And you can't be angry without a cause, unnecessarily angry to the point where now you want to get revenge on your neighbor. Christ is not teaching anything new. He just showing you how to understand the law that you should have known already. He making it so that you can't misinterpret it now. So for the sophisticated Christians that try to use Matthew 5:22 to suggest that Christ changed or added to the law, I disagree with you from a place of scholarship, not emotion. Everybody understand that?
Well, they probably already called you everything but a child of the living God by now.
Well, they wouldn't have sat through it. Somebody said Salakia.
Another one. Shalom.
Shalom, what's up, brother?
I'll have a quick preset if you don't mind.
All right, let my reader read it though.
This the book of Proverbs chapter 27, verse 4-5.
Read it.
Proverbs chapter 27 and verse 4. Wrath is cruel and anger is outrageous, but who is able to stand before envy? Open rebuke is better than secret love.
Why'd you read that?
Just to showcase what Christ was trying to explain to the disciples and Jews at that time, how anger can lead you to do things against your neighbor, how powerful it is when it gets out of hand unnecessarily. When you're angry against your neighbor for things that you really shouldn't be angry at him for and what it leads you to do. Because to not hate your brother in your heart is to rebuke him so he doesn't go off. I yield.
All
right, good point, brother. And then you get one, and then we're going to go to the next challenge, and then we're going to shut it down. Go ahead.
It's the book of Proverbs, chapter 25 and verse 28. He that hath no rule over his own spirit is like a city that is broken down and without walls.
It's one of my favorite scriptures. I still got to master this chamber. You got to have rule over your own spirit. You can't get mad. Sometimes you get mad because it's like, why? Why you doing that? Why you doing that?
Yeah.
Bro, sis, come on. Right? Because it's like, stop. Why you doing that? Right? What you're really doing is you calling out to them. Why are you doing that? Right? But it's showing itself through anger. But what you're really doing is you pleading with them they stabbing you, and you're basically saying, ouch, you know, stabbing me. Yo, right? Like that guy on the train when that dude stepped on his foot. Woo! Stepped on I dare you step on my foot again, right? It hurts, man. But is Christ adding to the law? I think not. I think not. Everybody understand so far?
Aaron put a great scripture too.
Read that.
Man,
I read this on Passover all the time.
Proverbs 19:11. The discretion of a man deferreth his anger, and it is the glory, and it is his glory to pass over a transgression.
Yo, when somebody do you wrong and you let it slide, the Most High glorify you. Right? Brother's gonna say, well, then why you dispute me? Well, because I'm not gonna stand for it.
Right.
But I didn't get you back. I passed over it. Me confronting you about it, you can't complain about that. I'm stepping to you. But getting you back would have not been passing over your transgression. And I would be going off according to Christ and the law, which was already here. Y'all see what I'm saying? You avenged yourself. That's wrong. So Christ did not add to or change the law. Nice try. Go to Matthew 5:28 now. Remember, I told you, most of this comes from the Sermon on the Mount, which is Matthew chapter 5. That's where most people get these ideas from. Read that.
Matthew chapter 5 and verse 28. But I say unto you that whosoever looketh on a woman to lust after her hath committed adultery with her already in his heart.
Now, where's that in the law? I got you.
This is obvious.
I got you. The law says you can't commit adultery, but Christ says you can't even look upon her with lust in your heart. He made a better law. It's stronger. This is the law of Christ. So it's different than the law of Moses. You see what they're saying? No. Listen. I understand y'all disagree, but be fair. You see what they're saying? See, they won't do that for us. See how you just admitted that? I see what you're saying. No Christian will do that for us. When we give a breakdown, they don't go, now that makes sense. And I understand why you came up with that conclusion. I disagree, but they won't give us that. But see how we'll give you that? I see what you're saying.
Right.
I see what you're saying. But you're wrong again.
Right.
Not from a place of emotion. I'm going to tell you how you're wrong scripturally. Psalms 51:10.
Right.
Psalms 51:10.
It's the book of Psalms, chapter 51, in verse 10. It says, create in me a clean heart, oh God.
Making me what?
Create in me a clean heart, oh God.
Now, the Most High not going to get the plaque out of your arteries. He could do that, but that's not what the brother is asking for. Your heart is your mind. Read it again.
It says, create in me a clean heart, oh God, and renew a right spirit within me.
And give a right spirit within me. Come on.
Cast me not away from thy presence, and take not thy Holy Spirit from me.
Because the spirit will not dwell in a malicious soul.
Right.
That's Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 4, verse 1. 1 verse 4. Thank you. Why you got brothers for? Right? I said it backwards. I do that all the time. Now, why is that important? Because your mind is your heart.
Right.
And your mind needs to be pure. And you're supposed to want that. Even in the Old Testament.
Right.
Is not Christ telling you to purify your mind because you looking on that woman with lust? Don't do that. Is not Christ asking you to purify your mind? Give me Job 31:1. Let's see if this is a new concept. All right, very good. Job 31:1. Let's see if this is a new idea. Read.
This is the book of Job, chapter 31:1.
Come on.
It says, I made a covenant with my eyes.
Now, Job said, I made a covenant with my eyes. Come on.
Why then should I think upon a maid?
I shouldn't even think upon a maid. I shouldn't even look at her. I made a covenant with my eyes. I'm not going to let her carry me away. That's not a new idea. Job is ancient.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, the Bible already ancient, but Job is ancient.
Yeah.
Ancient.
You telling me Yahushua not aware of that precept? Of course he is.
Come on now.
Ain't that saying the same thing? You look on a woman with lust, you did the adultery in your mind. Job said, I made a covenant with my eyes. I'm not even going to look upon a maid. So I don't make adultery in my mind.
Right.
Y'all understanding this?
Right.
2 Peter 2:11. Get the apostles. 2 Peter 2:11.
2 Peter chapter 2 and verse 11.
Come on.
Whereas angels, which are greater in power and might, bring not railing accusations against them before the Lord.
Mm-hmm.
But these, as natural brute beasts,
Now, these are people that are infiltrating your church. Come on.
these, as natural brute beasts, made to be taken and destroyed, speak evil of the things that they understand not.
That's why they say Hebrew Israelites is a hate group. You don't even understand. You talking about God's chosen people, stupid.
You a natural brute beast.
You're a natural brute beast. You don't know what's going on. Your doctrines are doctrines and traditions of man that actually are sin. Your Trinity doctrine is sin. Your Immaculate Conception doctrine is an excuse because you're afraid to study.
Right.
Read on.
And shall utterly perish in their own corruption.
And you're going to perish in that corruption because God said you shall have no other gods before me. And you done elevated Jesus Christ to becoming the Father and then made two gods and boxed them against each other.
Right.
Right now, that's what we're doing. Right. You're making Jesus like he could contradict Yahweh,
Right.
the supreme.
Right. Right.
That word is scary.
Right.
Come on.
And shall receive the reward of unrighteousness, as they that count it pleasure to riot in the daytime. Spots they are and blemishes, sporting themselves with their own deceivings while they feast with you.
Yeah, they bragging about their doctrines.
Right.
But they're deceived.
Precept.
Wait, read.
Having eyes full of adultery.
Having eyes full of what?
Adultery.
Now, wait a minute. How can your eyes be full of adultery? Because you're looking at all these other men's wives, imagining them.
Right.
Ooh, that's nice right there. That must be nice. Ooh, look at her right there.
Right.
Let me talk to this sister. I bet if I get in this sister's ear, she'll leave that man. She don't look happy anyway. You know, the brother, yeah, she don't like the way the brother's moving. She been complaining about it. I've been hearing it. Let me feed into that. She's gonna come with me.
You're a disgusting person.
You're a demon.
Then they ain't gonna sit in that meet with another man's wife, man.
Yeah.
Drinking wine.
Come on,
texting her, calling her. That's already been in the scriptures. You ain't supposed to do that.
Yeah.
Read on.
Brute beast.
Having eyes full of adultery, that
and that cannot cease from sin.
They can't cease from sin. Is Yahushua giving you a new commandment, or is he helping you not break the one that was already there because you still don't get it?
Right.
You trying to make it like it's a new law.
Right.
Well, now wait, it's not gonna be that easy, brothers, because somebody gonna see that parachute, brother. Brother, he got the rope like the Super Bowl hanging. It still say what it say, and now the law is you can't look at a woman to lust after her, or it's adultery. Stop.
What is adultery?
What? Go ahead, edify. You teach. I know you got it.
Adultery is when a man sleeps with another woman. A man sleeps with another man's wife, or a woman sleeps with someone outside of her marriage. So if I'm looking at a woman in lust and Christ says that's me committing adultery, that means that this woman is someone's wife.
And he knows the content of my heart, and he got me and marked me. And guess what? He's right. You don't know if these women is married or not. So you looking at them, and the first thing in your mind is, what's it gonna be like to rod her? Ooh.
Right.
No. You could look at a woman and she's beautiful. The Bible says the beauty of a woman, a man loveth nothing more. There's nothing better than that. Amazing.
Precept.
Amazing.
Let me say this.
Jesse Lee Peterson.
But look how reckless that is now that you've allowed your mind to wander into laying with her. You could look at her and go, that woman is beautiful. Wow. You didn't have to go to the next level and have a whole episode with her in your mind. You could have controlled your thoughts. Give me Matthew 15:19. Matthew 15:19. You could have controlled your thoughts. See, The law says don't commit adultery, but Christ said you got to exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees. The Pharisees only do this for an outward show. Yo, you can't accuse me of adultery. I didn't touch her. But you done, every time she walked by, your eyes followed her. Your eyes was bouncing with her body parts, man.
You're fantasizing.
You understand?
Right.
So you boasting about being able to say, but I never touched her. No, our righteousness got to be higher than that.
Right.
We following the same law, though. Thou shalt not commit adultery. It's not new. Read on. Read what you got. Matthew 15:19.
Okay. It's the book of Matthew, chapter 15, and verse 19. For out of the heart proceedeth evil thoughts.
See, because out of your mind, not your heart, this pump blood. The heart is your mind. Out of your mind come the evil thoughts. Go ahead.
Murderers, adulteress.
You could be a murderer in your mind, and you could be an adulterer in your mind. The law said, thou shalt not commit adultery. Christ is teaching you something. Bro, did you know you could commit adultery in your mind? Not a new law.
Yeah.
I'm showing you how to keep the one that been here.
Right.
For all the Christians that tried that with this verse, y'all didn't even care about what he was teaching.
Come on.
Y'all was advocating for not keeping the commandments. That's why you brought us here. Just to argue that we don't got to keep the law when Christ is arguing to keep the law in this very verse. That's crazy. Proverbs 4:23, man. We moving quick. Proverbs 4:23. Hold up. Proverbs 4:23. Brother stealing all my precepts.
Proverbs 4:23.
Go ahead.
It says, keep thy heart.
What you say?
The Lord's precepts.
All right, they're not mine. Go ahead.
Proverbs 4:23. Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life.
That's where Christ got that from. The heart is your mind. Keep your mind. Be diligent over the thoughts of your mind, because the issues of life, which mean and death,
right,
are in it. Master yourself. It's a powerful statement. Master yourself. You ain't got no control over your person. Your flesh is stronger than your mind. You haven't mastered your flesh.
I think Sirach said, seek it out what is evil for thy soul and get far from it.
Yeah, learn your weaknesses and avoid it. James 1:15. And then y'all can get all y'all precepts.
This
You gotta
James
start at verse 13 on that one.
This James 1:13. It says, let no man say when he is tempted, I am tempted of God. For God cannot be tempted with evil, neither tempted he any man. But every man is tempted when he is drawn away of his own lust and enticed.
Come on.
Then when a lust have conceived it, it bring forth sin.
See, the lust started in your mind. Once it's been thought of, what does it bring forth?
It bring forth sin.
Is it a sin for you to lay with a woman that has no husband?
No.
That would mean that sex is sin. Is sex sin? No. All the super sisters, sex ain't marriage. Why did Paul say if you lay with a harlot, y'all are one flesh?
Why you say that?
What vows did they take?
Right.
What vows you took with that harlot? Did you meet the harlot's father? So how did y'all become one flesh? Because you laid with her, you dealt with her. That's why you got to master your spirit. When I teach you, I teach myself. That's one of the hardest things you learn in the truth. Like, hey, brother, that old man, you got to kill him. Can't do that over here, right? And that takes time, okay? So what the Lord is saying, once the thoughts have been conceived in your mind, what then?
It bringeth forth sin.
It then bring forth sin, and
sin, when it is finished, bringeth forth death.
Damn.
Hey, read verse 12 though.
Wait.
Remember that?
Think for a minute. Christ ain't telling you nothing new. He didn't make a new law, meaning you cannot desire a woman now.
Right.
That's the damn taking that vow of celibacy and them sodomites playing with boys. Teach it like that.
Yeah.
Christ is telling grown men, real men, yo, look, you lusting after her in your mind and you think that's okay. Y'all have taken solace in the fact that you did not physically lay with her as if that's enough. But the reason y'all keep committing adultery when it's all said and done is because you thought about it for so much time. Once that thought is conceived, then the sin comes. I'm teaching you how to block the sin before it comes. Don't even do that, bro. Don't think on that like that, man. When you look at that woman, don't let your mind run there. You see that?
The master teacher, man.
The master teacher, the best rabbi,
Kind.
not these damn Talmudic liars who called him a demon.
Right.
This how you teach the scriptures, because I get it.
Right.
You're right. If I was sitting in the cipher, none of y'all never even think like that. Like, Yahushua was a real dude, bro. So that means he had camp. So that means you had to go and listen to him kick doctrine, and brothers was challenging him, and he was cutting them, and then brothers thought they had him, and they was celebrating, and then he got in there, and then there was other brothers he didn't even want to talk to them. We've experienced that today. Yahushua makes sense, bro.
Yes.
Like, that is wise.
That's real.
Don't even think about it, because you're going to do it, because you've been thinking about it. Your righteousness got to exceed the righteousness of the Pharisees. The Christians teach you that means some different law you're keeping. No, the way the Pharisees look at it is, hey, you ain't touch her though.
Dog.
But you coveted her.
That's in the law.
You still sin. And you thought about it so much, you seized the opportunity.
Yeah, when it came past you, you replayed it so many times in your head.
Yep.
It just was like second nature.
Like
This would have saved David.
Like the brothers in Susanna. Yeah.
It would have saved them. Because David ain't just do it. David had to be in that window like, God damn, Bathsheba's crazy.
Yeah.
And then Bathsheba ain't, y'all not fair to
y'all not getting
David.
away
Bathsheba looking up.
Right. She knows she was doing.
She know damn well
It's the king.
where David was.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
You know David could see you from right
They
there.
had a window open.
Duh.
You ain't run when his window open, his shutter. You ain't run.
Right. No.
But you know, then they start, oh, y'all hate women. We just keeping it 1,000.
Bro, that's real.
She was guilty of adultery as well.
As well.
Come on now.
bro.
Nobody say that.
Yeah, it's real.
You know, because only the man is held to a standard.
Uh-huh.
Especially if you're a teacher, you're not treated like a human being.
No, you're
And
a
you
robot.
make mistakes, people seek to destroy you. Right?
Man,
Y'all brothers got your precepts. You could get them now. I think the people
I was
understand.
just gonna bring out the law.
Yeah.
So Exodus.
Get it.
Exodus 20.
Chris, you had something. Malachi,
I
you
think
had
the-
something?
The brother on Clubhouse had a.
And Daniel Allah has something.
I have one.
This is it. This Leviticus 20 and 10. And the man that committeth adultery with another man's wife, even he have committed adultery with his neighbor's wife, the adulterer and adulteress shall surely be put to death. You know, going on with that. You when you have sex with another man's wife, that's adultery. So Christ was just trying to keep you away from that sin right there, that extreme to where you're worthy of death. You see what I'm saying?
I'm telling you, man, prevention is better than the cure.
Yeah.
That's all he's saying.
And that's how Christ is doing. Like on a mount for real, Christ is just keeping you from prevention. He keeping you from that. When don't be angry at your brother without a cause.
Calm down, yo.
Calm down. He's trying to keep you from them. You damn Cain and Abel now.
Because Satan is right there.
Right.
Satan. Kill him.
Yeah, you gonna be
Right?
a murderer. Yeah.
That's how he operate.
And if you're not killing him physically, you're gonna try to kill his
In-
image.
Or you're gonna kill him in your mind. You're gonna imagine it in your mind, and then you're gonna become all right with it. And then when the moment presents itself, you doing that. These ain't CSI days.
Yeah.
It wasn't CVTV camera days.
Right.
You could body somebody right between the alleyway and keep it moving.
Right.
Rip your garment off and throw it in the in Gehenna
Say
somewhere.
wolves got him.
Wolves.
Right.
I didn't see what happened to them. Matter of fact, I found him and he was like thus, right?
Dog.
So he trying to back then. There's some violent men.
out there.
So he was teaching the nation with all of his might. Get your precept, Daniel Allah. Call it.
The book of Genesis, chapter 20, and verse 2 to 3.
Genesis chapter 20, verse 2. And Abraham said of Sarah, his wife, she is my sister, and Abimelech, king of Gerasent, and took Sarah. But God came to Abimelech in a dream by night and said to him, behold, thou art but a dead man, for the woman which thou hast taken, for she is a man's wife.
That's real.
I simply went there to showcase that to prove your point that prevention is better than having to repent. Because Abimelech was ready to lay down with another man's wife, and the Most High warned him and told him that he was going to destroy him And when you go further down to the chapter, in verse 17, it tells you that Abimelech was already cursed, him as an entire family, and everything they had was already cursed. And Abraham had to pray for that. So that shows you how important it is for you to submit yourself in your mind to the laws of God and not think that you could fall back on lusting after somebody just because you didn't do the act. I yield.
Because that's how deep it is, bro.
Yes.
Don't even think about it, because you're going to do it. Now, the Christians came here to contradict us and say Christ has different laws than the Old Testament in order to make the laws of God obsolete. But the whole purpose of this teaching was to make sure you followed the laws of God. Ain't that crazy?
Yeah.
That's crazy. And in a debate, we might can make this point, but in a dialogue like on Clubhouse or in the street, it would be very difficult to teach what we just taught. And that's why class is every Friday at 8:30. Make sure you hear. Con? All right, so that's it for my precepts on this lesson. We're going to open up the floor for questions. And the brother's gonna get their scriptures. Go ahead.
I got one more. Going back to James chapter 1, we're gonna just read verse 12. It says, "Blessed is the man that endureth temptation, for when he is tried, he shall receive the crown of life, which the Lord hath promised to them that love him." So, just to let me off the points that the brother's making, this is why it's important to become and strive for perfection and being Christ-like, man. Because once you endure temptation and you overcome it, man, you get that crown of life. And that's what we are looking for Christ to be placing that crown on top of us, like 2nd Esdras chapter 2.
That's right. Anybody else? Y'all good?
I have one.
Go ahead, read loud.
Just to let me back off the point, right? In 2nd Peter, right? How the Pharisees was, for example, how the Pharisees would be like, "Oh, I ain't touch her," right? Or how the Christian pastors today try to say that the law of Christ, quote unquote, is different from the law of God, right? They don't understand the judgment. Proverbs 28:5, evil men understand not judgment, but they that seek the Lord understand all things, right? So because they don't seek the Most High, they're not going to understand the judgments that the Most High set in place. They're not going to understand the judgment of worshiping the idol, making Christ equal to the Most High God. They're not going to understand that.
Yeah, because they are so in love with the life that they live in.
Right.
Yo, it's a critical change to keep the commandments. Like, all right, start keeping the Sabbath. Who remembers? Remember when we started keeping? I remember Sabbath keeping, right? In the beginning of my Sabbath keeping, it was like, damn, it's Friday. The sun going down, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like, the Sabbath is coming finally.
Right.
That takes time.
It do.
The beginning was like, new moon was yesterday. I forgot the new moon. Now it's like, I'm teaching the new moon. Things change. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Y'all gotta remember that it's a journey through this world. So a lot of people don't want to make that critical change. It's like they perish the thought that I keep a Sabbath, or I gotta do a new moon, or I gotta go and learn the Feast of Dedication so I can teach it to my flock. Like, no, we're doing Christmas. That's the way they are. It's abomination to them.
Right.
It's fetters to the priest Alazar was bringing this out from Sirach. It is fetters to the hands and manacles, like it's chains to them.
Right.
But to us, it's a crown of glory. It's bracelets and jewels. You understand? It takes a lot of time to get there. And I think that's why our Christian brothers are afraid. And then you add in everybody can't make it. They don't like that. They Catholic in their origin, so they don't like that. So now what we're going to do is we're going to start Q&A. So if you YouTube member, go ahead, Daniela. Go ahead.
Quickly to add to Malachi's point that he made in James chapter 1 and verse 12, I believe. The book of Zephaniah chapter 2 and verse 3, going with Matthew 5 and 5.
What was the precept?
I got Zephaniah. You get Matthew 5 and 5.
All right, so let's
Bring it out.
This is the book of Zephaniah, chapter 2 and verse 3. It says, "Seek ye the Lord, all ye meek of the earth, which have wrought his judgment. Seek righteousness, seek meekness. It may be ye, slack it, it may be ye shall be hid in the day of the Lord's anger."
That's right. Read yours.
Con, this is the book of Matthew, chapter 5, verse 5. Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth.
That's right. So you got to be humble with this thing and open to change. Good precepts. Good precepts. So now we're going to start the Q&A session. If you're on the call, all you have to do is press *6. Are you a host on this line?
Yeah.
Q&A session has started.
All right. Can they hear me? Are you sure?
Yeah, they can hear you. You the host.
Are you sure on that line?
Look,
You got the little thing on there, the password.
look, you host.
Okay, yeah, con. All right, so all y'all got to do is press *6 to get in the queue. If you're on the YouTube, we about to turn this into members only.
So Connie Shemaiah has the first question, but Connie Shemaiah is not a member. Call that number at the bottom, Connie Shemaiah, and get in the queue if you want your question answered. For all the brothers and sisters on the YouTube who are not members, I would call that number if I was y'all.
Mm-hmm. All right. And on the Clubhouse, all you gotta do is raise your hand. So starting with the call,
The members.
Starting with the members on the YouTube,
Tony.
We got Tony Revels. His question is, Salakia Adawan Elder, where can we find the tables 1 through 2 of the early manuscripts of Matthew 5:22 that you presented earlier? I'm definitely going to upload those to the Patreon repository. But what I can do is if you email me, I'll just send it to you. The email is scrolling at the bottom. Especially if y'all going to come to the new moon this Sunday. Make sure y'all send an email right there. Y'all in Atlanta, y'all want to come to the new moon. Okay. So I'm going to send that to you, Tony. All right.
Got had a number scrolling too though, so that people could call in.
Oh damn! Do we got one with the number and
the email? The email is right there in the corner. You just gonna have to take his comment down.
Okay. So the email is right there. Sons of Thunder Israelites at Gmail, right underneath our picture, right underneath SOT Israelites, right there on the bottom left. All right. So you can get those images, Tone.
I don't think we have any other questions right now from members, so we can go to the call.
All right, 601. What's your question?
Shalom, Ak.
Shalom, Adawan. Can I be heard?
Yeah.
Khan.
This Soldier Josiah. Beautiful lesson, first and foremost. I'm thankful you brought it out. It was real edifying. I can add more precepts to my arsenal. The question I have is referring to the lesson. It's real quick. It's gonna be what was the understanding of Genesis 3, verse 14 and 15?
Oh yeah. All right, we're going into something different now. Genesis 3, 14 and 15.
Genesis chapter 3 and verse 14. It says, "And the Lord God said unto the serpent, because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel."
So I get asked this question often. We have a lesson on this on the channel. I forget the name of that lesson though. I think we were talking about like questions about Genesis and the Sabbath. I think that's the lesson. I think Yaradan is reading.
It's a Sabbath class or is it street teaching?
It's street teaching. I got on white. I remember that lesson. It's it's like from 2019. It's like questions about the Genesis and going into Genesis and the Sabbath, weightier matters or something like that. All right, number one, Christians use this to teach
the woman has a seed.
That the woman has a seed. And then they go into their spiritual Israel. what we instruct as sons of thunder is the book of Genesis is representation for something deeper and requires you to decipher it. You can't bottle up the beginning of times in a few pages. That's impossible. Okay. When it says that the serpent shall go in his belly, that represents the adversary and the wicked of the earth. Give me Micah 7 and 17.
God, this is the book of Micah, chapter 7 and verse 17. They shall lick the dust like a serpent. They shall move out of their holes like worms out of the earth. They shall be afraid of the Lord our God and shall fear because of thee.
So that's the wicked of the earth. They're gonna lick the dust.
Yep.
All right. That's their punishment for being adversarial to us. It says, I will put enmity between thee and the woman. That's between the wicked and the righteous, the woman representing Israel,
right?
Foreshadowing Israel. All right. Yeah, Brother Yahweh breaks down Genesis for the people. I did not have on white. I was wrong. Maybe that is it. It says enmity between thee and the woman. That's the wicked and the righteous. That enmity is what's going on even to this very day.
Yep.
Okay. Now, it shall bruise thy head. Our head is Christ. Now, some people decipher that. Remember, we're using English. There's a semicolon there. None of that appears in the Hebrew. And this is archaic text. But some people decipher that as the head that's being bruised is the serpent's head. And the heel that's being bruised is Christ. See, they even got creative with it. They interpolated Christ. You know, not talking about Eve's heel.
Right.
See what I'm saying? But it should not be interpreted that way. The heel that's bruised is of the wicked. Because when Jacob came out of the womb, he held on to what? Esau's heel. Even when we talk about pro wrestling, the bad guy is called the heel. All right. So the heel that is bruised is of the wicked, right? The head that is bruised is the leader of Israel, our king, which is Christ. And what did they do? They put that crown of thorns on his head, right? So that was prophecy fulfilled. So these three verses, very philosophical, and man, we're gonna have to do a whole lesson to show you the precepts and support our positions on that. You understand that? All praises.
We got another member question.
Not to cut you off or to interrupt the question Q&A, but is Revelation chapter 12, verse 17 in reference to this?
Yes. Revelation chapter 12. Revelation chapter 12 goes into that woman, proving that that's Israel.
That's the spirit for real.
Read what you got, because brother Dirac was holding it.
God, this is the book of Revelation chapter 12 verse 16. This is the earth helped the woman, and the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon had cast out of his mouth.
Now, our elders taught us that the earth helping the woman is the archaeology. That's the history proving that we are the Israelites, and it started to come out in these last days. That's the earth helping the woman being Israel. Go ahead.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman,
and that serpent is the dragon,
and went to war, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed,
and made war with her seed, enmity between her and you.
Right.
Y'all understand? All right, let's get a YouTube member question. Thank you for the compliments, Sister Shamika. Shalom, Tony. Shamika says, is the lunar Sabbath going off? No. And I must tell you why. The law says keep the Sabbath.
Right.
Hey,
how can you sin if your intention is to keep the commandment? Right? So it can't be going off. Even though we don't observe lunar Sabbath, we keep regular Sabbath. It would be unwise to say keeping the lunar Sabbath is going off, because them brothers are earnestly keeping the Sabbath. All right. We got no more questions. I'm gonna end the Q&A.
Q&A session is over.
And then on the YouTube, I don't see Mellow Israel posted a comment.
He was just putting that
backing that up, the scriptures. Yeah, he held on to Esau's heel.
Man.
All right.
Now the Q&A session is over. Now when we start praying.
Now don't ask no more questions. Q&A session is over.
Unmute. I got a question.
Nope.
We got to pray, man.
So now, since there's no more questions, no questions on the Clubhouse, no questions on the YouTube, I hope y'all enjoyed the lesson. Did Christ change or add to the law? No. All right. It's Shabbat here. If I join membership, am I buying? No, because there's no item you're purchasing. All you're doing is giving a free will offering to support the church. That's not a sin. But if you feel uncomfortable, join later if you wish. Now, I'm gonna say this. Go to Deuteronomy 4:2. Jesus Christ cannot add to or take away from the law, else categorically he sins. Read that.
Deuteronomy 4:2. You shall not add unto the word which I command you, neither shall you diminish aught from it, that ye may keep the commandments of the Lord your God which I command you.
So there you go. In order to keep the commandments, you cannot add to the law. So to Christian brothers, stop saying that. Y'all are accusing Christ of what?
Of sinning.
And that's unwise. All right. So
go
ahead.
ahead. This is the
And we got a new member, Israel Bunya Howard Bunya Sharala.
All praises.
This is the book of 1 John chapter 3 and verse. I'm gonna read verse 4 down. It says, whosoever committeth sin also transgresseth the law, for sin is the transgression of the law.
That's right.
And you know that he was manifest to take away our sins, and in him is no sin. So we understand that. Y'all can't, y'all accusing Christ of sinning, but guess what? In Christ was no transgressing of the law.
It's not there. There's no guile found in his mouth. All right. So with that, we are now going to have the Sabbath prayer. If you want to get the prayer and join us for that, just call the number at the bottom. All right. Ban means son or child, cub. All right. If you want the Sabbath prayer, call in, but make sure your phone is on mute. All right. Don't call in and have your background loud and people talking. Y'all trying to figure out what y'all going to eat. Okay. Because we're going to say the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. And if you wish to repeat, it'll be off timing. So just make sure you're on mute. All right. That's it. Thank you for joining the channel. Thank you for supporting Sons of Thunder throughout the years. And we're going to play our sponsor while we give y'all a chance to call in. Okay. We pull that back up.
The number is at the bottom. If you want to call in and get the prayer with us, just please make sure you mute your phone as you come in.
All right. We the Sons of Thunder. It's our heart's prayer and desire for Israel that they might be saved. New moon is this Sunday. If you want to join us, make sure you send us an email. Okay. Make sure you send us an email for Purim. And if you attending Passover, make sure you email right now. Shalom.
Yo, this game right here is fire, bro. Whoever know the who make this, DM me, bro, so I can shout them out. This game right here is fire.
Call your family, call your friends, and come and play a game where we all say truth to the end and the truth of y'all. It's a game that you can get in called the truth of y'all. So what you waiting for? Come get it. It's the truth of y'all. Learning the Bible never been more engaging. Increasing biblical knowledge never felt so amazing. Renewing minds and saving lives all while chasing justice, equity, and truth that is unshaken. It's the truth of y'all. Come get it. We can play it. It's the truth of y'all. So what you waiting for? Come get it. It's the truth of y'all. Come get it. We can play it. It's the truth of y'all.
If you have not ordered Truth of Y'all back on board yet, click link in the bio. ASAP and visit our website, thetruthofyall.com. Shalom.